Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I want to welcome you to this session where we are going to launch the Next Generation Land Grant Plan for Kansas State University. Historically, this has been the state of the state university kind of thing that we would do. We're putting all that together this year because this is a special year as we turn the corner at this moment in our history to go forward. And what that's about, you're going to learn about over the next few minutes. But before we go to that, I know many of you were in here when In One Accord was performing. So we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to give your appreciation. And let's give them another big round of applause. They did great. I also want to make note that there's a lot of people in this audience that come from various backgrounds, but I am especially proud of the leadership that I've had the privilege of working now with for about 8 months. I see them on the front row, and yes, they were asked to be down here. Let's just make that clear. They didn't choose this, but I'm really proud to see our cabinet, our deans, our faculty senate. Let's give all these guys a round of applause. They work hard every day. Thank you. But as I look across this room, I also see students. Students, raise your hand. I know that we got some students. Yeah, there they are. Great. Hey. And I know we have donors, alumni, stakeholders, faculty, staff. There's so many people, spouses, people that are here just to celebrate with us today, partners in the community, legislators, mayor. We got them all here today. I got to behave myself, Mayor. You're here today. But really, really glad to have all of you here because this is an exciting moment for this institution. A lot of work's gone into it, and we're going to talk a lot about that. We're going to tell you a lot of things that have gone on and how we've gotten here over this next few minutes together. But I want to warn you, too, that we won't be able to tell you everything. We won't be able to give you all the things we've done because there's no way to do that in this period of time. So over the next few weeks, even months, we're going to continue to unveil more. So you're going to get a snapshot today of big things to come, bold ideas, new things to happen here. You know, as I thought about what I was going to say today to kick this off, there's two things that always come to mind, and you'll hear me say these again in the next few minutes in different ways. There's two things that distinguish this institution unlike any other. I remember one of the first conversations I had with a certain famous football coach you have here, Snyder, who I asked, I said, well, what was it that drew you here? He said, it's all about the people. I fast forward from that, and I'm being recruited to come here by Rich Linton, sitting in the house, in the residence, and I said, Rich, why K-State? Why should I come here? He said, it's the people. So people becomes really important. The other thing that I learned here is that purple is not just a color. It's a value. I didn't know there were so many shades of purple. I didn't understand what purple really meant. In fact, I can't go anywhere and not see purple anymore. Everything's purple in my life. But I will tell you that that people piece and that purple piece are what bind us together. And no matter what we say in terms of what we're going to do in the future, and we're going to say a lot, I can assure you that we are on a trajectory that's going to move us forward. But there's nobody that can give that message any better than our president. So I want you to turn your attention to the screen, where President Rich Linton is going to share with us a message.
Good afternoon, K-State family, my Wildcat family, and welcome to the future of our great university. Boy, I wish I could be with you today in person to officially launch what we're calling the Next Generation Land Grant University. But this plan is not my plan alone. It's our plan. It's your plan as we work together to form it. And we pulled together an incredible showcase for you today featuring many members of the K-State community. In fact, our strategic plan has been based on more than 10,000 inputs from our students, our faculty, staff, alumni, donors, community members, fans, and friends of this university. And though this process of gathering stakeholder input and taking a hard look at who we are and who the state, nation, and world needs us to be, we have crafted a goal-driven vision that will drive us forward. One thing that excites me greatly about this process is how we are using this moment to reclaim our place in history as the nation's first land-grant university and redefine what it means to be a modernized land-grant university. So at K-State, we have always prided ourselves on our land-grant mission of teaching, research, and service. And our vision of being a spark that transformed the world through learning, discovery, and engagement takes our mission to new heights. We have committed to realizing this vision by staying true to our shared values, which you see displayed on either side of the stage this afternoon. And I already feel these values every single day in my important work at K-State. We are more connected than ever, both within the university and for those that we serve. I'm proud that we are courageous every time we choose to rise to the moment, even when the course is uncharted, to ensure that we deliver the greatest good for the areas of the greatest need. We are listening, adapting and challenging the status quo, ensuring that our impact transforms lives and creates shared prosperity for all. We are truly learner-focused and people-centered, welcoming all who wish to learn and grow, and fostering an atmosphere of support and inspiration. And finally, we are committed to being good stewards of our mission and vision, using our resources responsibly to leave a positive, lasting legacy that all of us can be very proud of. This is an incredibly exciting time at Kansas State University, and I hope that you are all ready to be a part of our incredible change together. I guess it's probably not time for me to say, "Go Cats," quite yet, as this is only the beginning of our time together. But you know what, I can't help but say it. Let's get excited, folks, because our future begins now. Go Cats!
You know, when you walk around this campus, you meet a lot of interesting people. You see a lot of interesting individuals. And we found this individual today that we thought you might be interested in seeing. His name is Dr. Rich Linton, president of Kansas State University. I think I can quit now, right? That's about it. Let me say again, it's great to have Rich, Sally, Chris. I know Lily's watching too. What a great family. Let's give this whole family a round of applause. They deserve it. I want you to understand that, you know, Rich being here today is symbolic of the passion, the commitment that he has. Now, I also want you to know that later today he's going to have to slip out and won't be around a lot of you, and please understand. I know you do. But I also want you to know that he can still talk. So at the end, when he comes up here, he's going to say something with me that will ensure you that he can still talk. So we're going to make sure that happens. But again, Rich, it's good to have you back home. Glad you're here. Now, you heard Rich talk about the land grant. You heard him talk about the three-part mission. You heard him talk about teaching and research and extension, which is unique to the land grant. You also heard about him we want to reclaim our spot, and then we want to go forward. We want to be the premier, I will even say preeminent land-grant university in the country. We don't want to just change land-grant and what it means in Kansas. We want to change what land-grant means in the country. Right, boss? Is that right? That's right. So, with that said, I want to take a moment here, and let's talk for a few minutes about it. Now, in order to understand the land-grant and what it means to me, I have to tell you about who I am. I'm Marshall Stewart. I serve as Senior Vice President, Chief of Staff for this guy. But if you go back in time and go back to Eastern North Carolina, where I'm from, three great ag teachers, Adolph Warren, Charles West, and Weldon Faircloth, got me to go to North Carolina State University. They didn't ask me to. They didn't say, "We want you to go." They said, "You're going, boy. That's the way it is." So I became red and white, and that's the way it was. I did not understand fully what it would do for me, with me, across the span of my lifetime. In fact, I never dreamed I'd work at a university. I didn't know what a senior vice president was. I'm not even sure he existed back then. But the point is, in all that, it changed lives. But to really understand how it changed lives, you've got to go all the way back to Abraham Lincoln. So go to 1862. Think about what the country was going through. We know it was a civil war. We know there was a lot of things that were not right in this country. But we also know that in 1862, that he did something with a guy named Justin Morrill. Justin Morrill was a senator from Vermont who had drafted this land-grant language. Now, there had been iterations before this. It had been tried. But in the middle of a civil war, Abraham Lincoln signed the Land-Grant Act. Now, you might say, okay, what I know about land-grant is it's agriculture. That's true. It's rural. That is true. It's military sciences. It's engineering. It's technology. All of that's true. But it's a whole lot more. Because if you really look at what it did, it created access and opportunity for generations. You see, prior to that, only the affluent and the well-connected could go to a university. If you weren't from a ruling class, you didn't get to go. There were masses of people in this country who had no opportunity for higher education. And on that day, July 2nd, which is an important day because July 2nd is also my birthday, in case you were wondering. I'm interested in how that happened. But anyway, July 2nd, 1862, I was not alive then, students. On that day is when it happened. That day transformed higher education, but it led to something different because even in 1862, yes, it opened the door for some, but not all. You see, it took to 1890 when African Americans were allowed into that same kind of opportunity for education. And that happened, 1890, HBCUs in the South got the same opportunity. You go across the South, there's about 17, 18 of those schools across the southern United States that have that same status. Again, access, opportunity. Those people had the same chance that others had had in the past. You fast forward to 1994, think, my goodness, that's a long time. 1994 is when Native Americans got the same access in their universities. There's a whole group of Native American universities. In fact, Haskell, right here in Kansas, is a land-grant university. So it's important to know that that access and opportunity is what the definer is. Now, I also want you to think about what it was like in 1862 and before. You had a ruling class, you had masses of people down here that didn't have access, predominantly rural. They just didn't have access. So what happened is something got created, and that was called the middle class. Now, think about most of us in this room. We would probably say we've either been there or we're in it or we're trying to get in it. Middle class, that's where a lot of us have lived our lives. It's what would be called the middle class. The middle class became important because it transformed America. Today, people are still struggling, trying to get into the middle class. Economically, socially, trying to get there. Social mobility, economic mobility, it was all transformed for the first time, 1862, July 2nd, with the Land-Grant Act. It shifted America. So now I want to take you forward. Think about what's under the pressure today, the middle class. Is there an opportunity as we transform a university, as we transform a land-grant university, as we transform a land-grant system, to think about how we transform that? How do you do that? Well, you pivot over and you start thinking about the most important people you have that we serve in a university. The most important people are what we historically have called students, right? Well, we're going to shift that narrative today because we're not just going to talk about student, because when I say student, most of you think about an 18 to 20-something-year-old. I'm not going to say 4-year because we do measure 6-year graduation. So that upsets parents, but we're proud of 6-year graduation. But that's a whole other story. We'll talk about that another day. But I want you to think about what it means to be a student. Most of us think about that age bracket. Most of us think about when we were there. But today we're going to shift that narrative from student to learner. So I want to move you to learner. Because learner, if you think about what President Linton said in the video, he talked about student education, that mission that we have, one of those 3-part missions that we have. I want today to redefine that as the word learner. To learn more about that, let's look at the video screen.
Our new strategic plan has exciting and important goals for enrollment at the university. But this work started back in 2018 when we introduced the university's first strategic enrollment management plan. That plan was important to K-State as it forged together new teams and provided a pathway towards significant strides in regaining our enrollment footprint. Along the way, we saw growth in our online programs, Salina campus and the Olathe campus, and we earned the top 6-year graduation rate in the state. But we know we must continue to adapt to changing demographics and educational needs as the world around us is constantly shifting.
So we'll see a steady growth of high school graduates until 2026. Then we're going to see a gradual decline. So about a 3% decline in high school graduates in the state of Kansas between now and 2030, the end of our strategic plan. Beyond that, we're going to see a pretty significant decline. So it's now that we need to be prepared.
We'll need to reframe the idea about who is a K-State student and not think about them just as incoming first-year students who are recent high school graduates.
This includes working professionals, non-traditional students, community college transfer students, place-bound students, and providing them access to an education that is inclusive and exceptional.
This means the way we look at total university enrollment will have to evolve as we'll be expanding the way we deliver education. Part of that delivery must be deeply connected to our programs with the workforce needs within our state, as that will provide embedded career pathways and opportunities for our learners. Additionally, it will help grow and sustain the industries that can most readily contribute to increased economic prosperity for Kansas. This is what it means to be a next-generation land-grant university, and I couldn't be more excited about the way that we're going to do that through our strategic plan.
So the first thing that we're going to do is revitalize our current programs, which are excellent, but we get to shine those up for our current students. The second thing that we're going to do is develop new programs that meet student needs and industry needs, and partnerships.
Whether that's through internships, service learning, education abroad, undergraduate research, there are many ways that we connect students with communities and industries in ways that are meaningful and really allow students to apply what they're learning.
One of the great things that K-State has is close partnerships with industry across the entire state. We work with partners in Manhattan, Salina, and Kansas City to identify what those specific workforce needs are and how we can do better at training and preparing the leaders for tomorrow.
What this does, what's different, is that we're ensuring that every student at K-State will have this experience before they graduate.
The final thing that we're going to do is focus on new initiatives like our exciting micro-credentials and degree completion programs.
Individuals coming to us are looking for opportunities to get just-in-time training, access their education on their terms, open entry, open exit, ability to get that training they need right now to apply for tomorrow.
We plan on developing, expanding our offering of professional master degrees that serve the needs of those who want to go into jobs that require master level credentials. By building our research enterprise, we will enhance the preparedness of our doctoral students to really be ready to make life's societal changes to research in all its shapes and forms.
The higher education landscape around us is constantly changing and evolving. And as a next generation land grant, we are poised to keep up with that and be innovators, in fact, lead in that change.
No university is more connected and better able to serve the learners within our state and across our nation and world than K-State, the nation's first operational land-grant institution. Access has been our mission from day one, and evolving what that access looks like and means by acknowledging the different types of learners who are seeking different types of education. That's what it means to be a next-generation land-grant university.
$30,000 by 2030. We didn't say 30,000 in Manhattan. We didn't say 30,000 Manhattan, Salina, and Olathe. We didn't say 30,000 degree seeking. We said 30,000. It's an important distinction because what we want to do is if a K-Stater comes here, we're going to hold you for life. You may graduate with a degree, but we want you to be a learner for the rest of your life. When you reframe what learning is all about and you open it up to the world, you can truly change the world because the programs, the activities, the things we do can go all over the world and make substantial change, not just here in Kansas, but everywhere. It's a big vision. It's a bold vision. You might say, well, how are you going to do that? Well, the first thing we're proud to announce today is we're going to invest $7.9 million in this whole area of learners. 7.9. That deserves a round of applause. You can applaud there. I want to tell you that money has come from a combination of things. Internally with the university, reallocation, looking at how we want to be more strategic. Our Board of Regents have been incredibly supportive, as have our state legislators. And we've got members of those groups here. Thank you for what you've been able to do and help us. If you look at how that money is going to be invested, it's going to go into a student success playbook, for instance. That's going to enable us to be better at advising and retaining students to keep them in. If you look at our retainment numbers today, they're really, really good. We retain well, but we can do better. So one of the things is not only to recruit them here, but to keep them here if they're in that traditional student base that we think about. We're also going to do other things. We're going to be partnering with community colleges, for instance. Just last week, I had the head of the Community College Association met with several of us on campus to talk through how we are going to invest with them in partnership where they invest, we invest too, to really build out a framework where community college students that choose to go there first can feel that K-State experience from the beginning of their community college experience. There's a way to do that. And that's exciting for us because we believe it can be transformational for students across the state. We also know it's going to take new investments in recruiting, the technologies we use, how we go about that, not only just to get a mailer in the mail like we got of my generation, but using all the aspects of digital and social media to ensure that students know about us and that more importantly maybe that their parents or those that they are responsible to know about us too. Because we're going to be a distinct university, distinct in what we are, distinct in who we are, that's going to be world class, that regardless of whether you live in Minneapolis, Kansas, or Minneapolis, Minnesota, you get to come here because that's where you want to be, because this is the place where whatever it is you're looking for and that distinctiveness is here. So we're going to look at lots of ways that we can tackle those kinds of issues. Tackling enrollment, getting more students, more learners as we're reframing it involved is a piece of the puzzle. A piece of that puzzle will also be high impact practices, an area that we're going to really double down on. You know, if you look at data today, Princeton Review always comes back and says, K-State has the greatest student experience of anywhere in the country. We're proud of that. Well, we're proud of that. But I'm also saying that we're going to up the game because we want every student to have access to international opportunities, access to intentional, meaningful internships, to ensure that they take advantage of the Staley School of Leadership with all the leadership content that's there. Every student. If we do that, we distinguish ourselves and make ourselves unique. And when you're unique and distinct, people want to come here. So it doesn't matter if you're a Kansan or if you're around the world, because it's not only those that we want to bring locally in that we feel close to, but we want to be internationally renowned. And the way you do that is you bring in international students from around the world that will help make us better and teach us things and make us, again, globally recognized. So we think about that intentionality we're going to have around the learner. You know, that's really about the student experience. That's one leg of the land grant. We talk about a tripart mission. We think about teaching, learning, student, that's one piece. But then there's two other pieces that are really, really important. That's research. We are a Research One university. That means something you should be really proud of. That puts you among the best research universities in the country, and it doesn't mean we can't be better at it, because we can, all can. But we're really proud of that. The research and discovery that goes on here, the work you've done across the years in just one area of like wheat varieties is renowned globally. You should be proud of that. But in the past, we've looked at that probably more in a vein of disciplinary focus We're going to shift that to intentional disciplinary focus. So when you think about doing it interdisciplinary, it means you bring the best minds from colleges across the spectrum to tackle an issue. We're really proud that we're going to be launching 2 of those in the coming weeks. One of those is in data analytics and digital agriculture, because we've got strength in that, and we can do it, especially on the applied side, like nobody else in the country. And we're excited about that. That's going to be one of the big teams, drawing from engineering and agriculture, drawing from arts and sciences and various other colleges that want to be involved. We also are going to launch a water institute. If there's one issue I've learned that has commonality about people in Kansas, they worry about water. You know, it was interesting, President Linton and I went out to Garden City together. Mr. President, it rained the entire time we were there. It really did. I mean, it was like dangerous rain. It rained so hard they couldn't fly us back. They had to drive us back. I mean, it was brutal. Those people prayed that we would come back and stay. We didn't, but we may make another trip out there. I don't want to say we're rainmakers, but y'all can take that. But we really, when you think about water, it is one of those resources we have to have. So some of our faculty have been coming together and having sessions. It was interesting, we sent out a survey on this campus and learned that 75 faculty on this campus, literally across every college, are involved in some aspect of water-related research right now. The interesting thing about that, a lot of them didn't know each other, didn't know what either were doing. They were in the same college sometimes, they didn't even know it. We had them all in one room last week, 75. So we're going to build a water institute. It's going to be interdisciplinary. It's going to pan the entire campus, and it may even pan other universities before it's over, because what we want to do is solve that issue once and for all for the state of Kansas, because if we solve it here, guess what? We can solve it other places too. It's all about having solutions, solving problems here that have global impact. So that's research. But then there's this whole thing of engagement. You know, we have a thing here, and it's a good thing. It's something that I come out, my roots are in extension, and yes, it will come out pretty quick. I love extension. It is part of who I am. It has literally been a career for me. To think about the external side of the university, think about what happens at the local level, the community engagement we do, how that can be done. And we have this jewel called K-State Research and Extension here that is just a phenomenal 105 county spread that we have. It goes across the entire state. But as we think about that, one of the things we've got to think about is how do we tie research and that activity and extension more closely together so that we engage in different ways to really solve those problems at that local level. So there's going to be a lot of work in this area of research, another leg of the land-grant mission, and extension engagement, another leg of the land-grant mission, as we rethink and transform ourselves into being that preeminent land-grant university. To learn more about that, I'm going to ask you now to, again, take a look at the screen.
Kansas State University has both an opportunity and a responsibility to bring our resources and expertise together to solve the challenges facing our state, our nation, and our world. But we need to do this in ways that challenge the status quo and even our historical norms. This starts by establishing interdisciplinary areas of focus that bring this institution together in new ways and provide the infrastructure to uncover new and collaborative ways of thinking. We call these areas of focus the K-State Opportunity Agenda. 4 focus areas that are broad enough for everyone to find their place within them, but specialized enough that this institution will be able to bring its expertise to bear on a grand scale.
We will direct our research in service to the needs of Kansas families, businesses, communities, and individuals to ensure their health and well-being is very much a part of our commitment to their economic prosperity.
In the broadest sense, I think community health and well-being is about shoring up opportunities for individuals, organizations, businesses all across the state that lead to prosperity. And that prosperity is the bedrock of that, the foundation of that is health, and health in the sense of as at the individual level, and then the health of a community. And then at the broadest sense, the health of this state as it functions as part of a larger nation and as part of a larger global community. When you think about the challenges in Kansas, the big challenges like affordable, quality housing, quality, affordable childcare, and health and the health delivery systems, those are not unique to Kansas. We see those in our neighboring states. We know those are across our country, and we know those same challenges show up in all kinds of communities across the world. Well, we're a land grant, and that means we care about people. So we have built this university with relationships and people. So when you think about our research endeavors, our teaching endeavor, and then our extension system, it puts us in a perfect position to help, to be a piece of the equation of healthy, prosperous communities in all 105 counties.
Sustainability and environment. This is an area we'll bring together our scientists, our policy experts, our scholars in virtually every discipline of the university to help prepare for a sustainable future under conditions of changing climate and uncertainties in the environment.
The greatest environmental challenges facing our region today include the loss and degradation of native grasslands, water quality and water quantity issues, and soil health. All of these threaten human health, the viability of rural communities, and agricultural production, which is the economic driving engine of the state and region. K-State plays a vital role in helping to solve these challenges through its research to identify how grassland productivity, water availability, and soil health are affected by climate change, increases in extreme weather events, and land use.
And this really crosses all of our colleges and many of our departments, our physical campus locations, and our research and extension locations across the state. And it crosses multiple disciplines. Some you might not traditionally think of when you think of water-related research, such as sociology and economics and political science, but also biology and agronomy and communication studies. Really is across the board our water-related expertise and research at K-State. This sustainability opportunity agenda recognizes that extending and conserving the future of our state and nation's water supply will require multidisciplinary research and engagement and training the next generation of water and natural resource professionals. So as the next gen land-grant university, K-State's here to meet that need.
Global food security and biosecurity are big areas for K-State. They're areas we have national and international prominence already. We'll continue to focus our research and our teaching and service activities to animate and drive forward our expertise in these areas and ensure that we're serving not only the food security and biosecurity needs of our state and region, but those of the nation and the world as well.
There are so many challenges. It's hard to narrow down as the single most important biosecurity challenge that we have. We have foreign animal diseases that exist outside of this country that could be devastating if they were here, and we have emerging diseases similar to COVID-19. We had a range of faculty involved that immediately pivoted their work to a novel virus they'd never seen before and were able to answer truly important questions about this particular new virus. And they are poised to do that for whatever new emerging disease might come. And so developing vaccines and preventive measures are going to be really important.
Here under one roof, we work on pathogens of plants, pathogens of animals, including livestock, zoonotic pathogens that can infect people, and foodborne pathogens. There is nowhere like this anywhere in the world that has this capability under one roof.
The Biosecurity Research Institute is an incredible resource that not many universities have. It's a biosecurity level 3 laboratory.
These efforts at the Biosecurity Research Institute by K-Staters and their collaborators are contributing every single day to the security of our agricultural system and, by extension, the world's food supply.
In our agriculture and food industry, we have many challenges. First, food insecurity. About 850 million people around the world do not have access to food or cannot afford the 3 meals. Second is with nutritional insecurity. About 2 billion people around the world are malnourished. Either they are undernourished, not having enough calories, or suffering from micronutrient deficiencies, or are obese. Third is water insecurity. Our water resources are dwindling very rapidly, which is putting a lot of pressure on our agri-food systems, particularly in Kansas, which is a home for the largest freshwater aquifer called Ogallala Aquifer. The water in this region is depleting rapidly, and we need to develop practices which will enhance the life of this Ogallala Aquifer. And finally, our agri-food systems are being challenged by climate change and occurrence of extreme events, particularly heat stress and drought stress. Scientists and educators at research centers are working closely with the producers to develop the best management strategies to increase the productivity, profitability of our agri-food systems, and at the same time addressing the environmental sustainability.
Enabling technologies. This is where we bring all of the exciting advances from digital technologies to artificial intelligence to technologies that aren't yet invented. We bring them all to bear on our research and discovery missions, our teaching and learning missions, and our outreach and engagement missions.
K-State is enabling technologies through these main factors: corporate engagement, industry partnerships, as well as developing new and innovative educational curriculums.
As an engineer, I get excited about technology with regard to the improved quality of life that it affords people all across the world, whether that is with regard to safety in terms of transportation, in terms of an operating environment, in terms of equipment, whether that is health, having healthier lives and being able to heal and cure more disease. I also get excited about what it means for increased productivity. The other thing that excites me about being in this technical field is being able to help people with special needs, to use technology to enhance their lives, to be able to use technology to make life and quality of life better. We like all the conveniences of our lives that technology is affording us today, but there's those challenges, those ethical challenges of privacy and personal freedoms that I think require a very integrated approach of technology and people. Those are more and more socially complex problems that require a very integrated approach.
Another consideration from an ethical perspective is the harmful effects of the usage of technology, which also leads to a greater need for transparency and accountability, especially when you talk about things like ChatGPT, artificial intelligence. There's a lot of conversations around what needs to be done in these areas. When it comes to precision agriculture, we partner with the College of Agriculture, in addition to the College of Technology and Aviation, to provide UAS services and UAS research capabilities as it relates to the agricultural industry in general. So we have a lot of these opportunities available to us, and we're doing it today. So that's really exciting for us.
The K-State Technology Development Institute and K-State's College of Engineering works with business and industry every day, and we work with people from across the state of Kansas and beyond. We work with small companies, we work with large companies, where we work with people in all fields that are trying to adapt technology to be more competitive, to improve the quality of life. And that is one of the great things about serving in a land-grant institution. We have a strong service mission for working with companies and entrepreneurs and innovators all across the state to help them advance their technologies, to help them bring new technologies to the marketplace. K-State is well positioned to do that, not only today with helping from the technical assistance perspective that we have in the College of Engineering and across the university, but also the students of today are the future workers of tomorrow, the future technologists of tomorrow. They are the ones that are going to carry forth these innovations and technologies and make even greater contributions on behalf of our society, the state that they live in, the community they live in, and the university that they attend.
Community health and well-being, sustainability, global food security, biosecurity, enabling technologies. Those are themes that we've chosen because they play to our strengths. They're also strengths that the state needs. They're also globally where the country and the world needs us. Those have been decided by faculty, by staff, by input from stakeholders. It wasn't something we just dreamed up, but it is our opportunity agenda. But as we think about that, it's important to then think about, well, how are you going to deliver out on that? What does that mean in terms, again, of investment? So let's start with the investment that we see happening today in K-State 105. K-State 105 was an idea that had been working maybe in some people's minds here in Kansas, here in Manhattan for quite some time. And over a period of time, it began to get traction. And today is an initiative that really makes the best of what we have in terms of our network across the state. You know, we do touch 105 counties. It's a unique thing that's uniquely land grant. You do not find that kind of outreach if it's not a land grant. So as those thinkers before I got here began to think about it, they said, how can we have economic impact? How can we have educational excellence? How can we drive health indicators out there? And K-State 105 was born. But you can have an idea, but if you don't have support for it, it doesn't matter. So in comes the legislature with great support, $5 million per year for 2 years, with hopes to go beyond that. So now we have K-State 105, which is really about taking the best ideas of this university, full measure. Doesn't matter about the discipline, doesn't matter about the college, doesn't matter where it's coming from, and being able to connect that with communities across this state. It can be out of engineering, vet med, arts and sciences, education. It can be from any college, any school, any discipline. Being able to use that network that has historically been so good at content delivery, have them continue to do that, but now be a connector to those best ideas. But it doesn't stop there. K-State 105 goes one step beyond that, because now we can partner with the capabilities we don't have with our K-Board partners, the other institutions in the state, to enable them to deliver their content co-branded with Kansas State University. You see, the people in the end out there, don't matter who comes up with the solution, as long as the solution arrives in time. And so that's another piece of K-State 105. And the final piece of K-State 105 is to figure out how do we take it to our other partners, community colleges? How do we figure out how to work better with economic development groups? Some of you saw this morning, Lieutenant Governor here. We had a conversation this morning. Went really, really well, by the way, talking about K-State 105. How can we partner? Well, we're going to figure that out too. Because it doesn't matter where the idea comes from, the people in the community want us and depend on us because of our land-grant mission to find solutions to those issues. So that $5 million is an investment to move that forward. There's a second investment we're looking at in our engagement and outreach programs. Now, when I talk about that, we have an Office of Engagement, does great work moving information out already. We also have government relations that does a terrific job of engagement. We're also looking and going to be doing an economic impact study to show the full value of the institution in full measure, another piece of our engagement outreach program. If you put all those together, we're going to invest over $600,000 in that. So you're going to see us become more community connected by moving in different ways. A piece of that also is to rethink and retool this extension network. That investment there will be matched by extension. So they come in with us as partners on the campus, and together we can do some big things there. Another big investment. Another investment we're getting ready to make is $6.5 million in research. I already see David Rosowski smiling down there. $6.5 million to help our research capabilities. We do know that it requires a lot of things. It requires great facilities, piece of the puzzle. You also have to have great faculty, and we have many of those. We also want to be able to recruit more to come in and blend so we can have the robust research output that we want to have, not for ourselves, but for 2.8 million Kansans and beyond, because that's what land grants are all about. So we're going to be asking you to join us in that. You know, I've given you 3 ideas of how this agenda will go forward. It goes forward with K-State 105. It goes forward with our engagement. It goes forward also with our research and activities and those interdisciplinary teams that are going to make us so strong in all these interdisciplinary areas, because it does go across colleges. It gives us the opportunity to think at things differently. You know, when you think about universities, they are organized a certain way. And folks, they've been organized a certain way for 1,000 years or more, literally. It's time to rethink some of that and go at problems differently, because problems don't live in silos, neither should universities, whether it be inside the university or working with other universities to solve problems. Again, we're doing this because Kansans need this, deserve this, and that's who we are as a land grant. So now you think about those three missions I've talked about. I've talked about research, I've talked about the outreach, I've talked about the learner piece of it. That's a tri-part mission. But you know, it all boils down to one simple thing that I started with. You'll remember I talked about the conversations about people and purple. Well, I'm going to focus on people, because we've got to make investments in people, literally in people. We've got issues that we need to address in our operational excellence area. Well, that's what we're calling it. We know that we need to invest more in our HR systems, our IT systems. We've got to improve some systems, communications. We've got to improve some areas. Not that people aren't working hard, but we've got to make sure that they have the technologies they need to do a better job. So you're going to see some radical investments over time in those areas. You're also going to see us bolster our abilities to give performance improvement for people that are doing a great job. We're going to create a faculty program for mid-career faculty who are doing great work, so that they get rewarded mid-career, not just waiting until somebody comes in here and tries to take them away. But if they're doing good work, let's reward them now so they don't start looking somewhere else. But we're also going to be a lot more intentional about how we go after people too. And by the way, we're already doing that. We're getting strong about how we're going to go and find that best talent. Our faculty tell us this is who you need to go get for vacancy. We're going to need them to help us figure that out. So we're investing heavy in people because we know our people, our faculty, our staff, the people on the ground are the difference maker for all of this. That's where it's going to happen. It won't happen because I'm here, because the president's here. We're okay people, but it's more than us. It's really about how do we work with our people, the people that make this place work every day and love it so much. They're passionate about what they do. They live with purpose. They come in and make sure that things happen. We've got to invest in that to ensure that whether they be in Manhattan, they be in Olathe, they be in Salina, that we're taking care of our people. And we're going to be known as a place going forward that does that even better because we want to take care of our people. You know, Forbes magazine recently came out and rated places to work in the state of Kansas. Guess what? Kansas State University ranked number 2. Now, I'm pretty happy about that, but actually I want to be number 1. So anyway, we're going to work on that. We got a little ways to go there. But to be number 2, that's good. But it tells us we can continue to improve if we invest in our people in the right way. But the key to our people is not just who they are and their skill sets, it's their values. You see, it's our values that draw us together. One of the great things that's come out of this strategic planning process has been a real deep thought about what our values are. So what I want you to do is, again, look at the screen, and we'll take a look at what some of our people say about the values that drive and underpin this great work that we're about to take on through the Next Generation Land Grant Plan.
I think it's pretty easy to see, just looking at K-State, the affinity we all have for the institution. We talk a lot about family and belonging and purple pride, but how do you describe purple pride? What are the values that make such a unique land-grant institution like K-State unique?
We embrace the past, but we look to the future. And as part of that forward thinking, we want everyone to understand the values that are true and important to us.
So these values should guide our behavior. We're saying these values are what is most important, most critical to us. And if those are the things that we value, then that's how we make our decisions. That's how we move forward as a university.
It's not just the values that 1 or 2 people came up with, but it's people from all different parts of campus, different age groups, different backgrounds. They pulled them together, and I think that there's something that we can all rally around.
I think these are things that we really want to truly live by. And I think we got a lot of the values from visiting with the community visits, and that was really important, traveling to the actual community and seeing what their needs were and where we needed to prioritize our values in order to be able to make an impact in those communities.
Why would you invest in K-State? Why would you send a student to K-State? Why would you develop a research partnership with K-State? Is because you see yourself in those values as well, and you want a customer that delivers them for you.
The next important part, and perhaps even more so, is how are you enacting those values? How are you bringing them to life? And that's the next challenge for this process, I think, to really make sure that the strategic plan and the values don't just sit on a shelf somewhere, but they're truly being lived out.
I think we take these values and spread them out through good, solid communication and clearly defining who K-State is and what K-State does and how we can use what we have here to benefit the community, the nation, and the world.
K-State has always found its brand in being together, and this doesn't change that. This just helps us understand how we can channel that togetherness, we can channel that pride, we can channel that passion for purple.
When we think about values, it's the great student experience that we have at K-State. It's the connection that we have with stakeholders in all 105 communities as a part of the land grant culture and mission. It's about the research innovation that creates the talent pipeline, but it also creates solutions for Kansans, the nation, and the world. But the vision, it's about what's ahead of us. Who can we become? What can we imagine ourselves becoming? If we can create a land grant university from scratch as a part of the next generation land grant process, then let's do it. Let's think about students in a different way. Let's think about engaging with our stakeholders in better ways. And let's create research solutions for a better tomorrow.
Our values bind us together, and our values enable us to no longer live in a mindset of scarcity, but to move to a mindset of abundance and opportunity. That's where we want to be. We don't want to think about what we don't have. We want to think about what we do have and what we can be. And those values are the underpinning of all of that. They're common values. They're Kansas values. They're values drawn from you as stakeholders as we traveled the state and we had opportunities to interact with all different kind of groups. It's all those values coming together that make us one K-State. One K-State is a really important thing because it pulls us together in a way, makes us think not about our individuality, but more of how I can contribute to a greater good. How can I be a part of something bigger than myself? How can I go there? What does that look like? You know, we've talked today about goals. We've talked about strategic imperatives in enrollment, things we're going to do in research and engagement. We've talked about an opportunity agenda, and we've just scratched the surface to give you an insight into that. But as you think beyond that, you know, we have talked about the investments. So that plan really gives you the components, the targets, the opportunities, the investments to take us where we need to go. As I think about where we go next and what's next, the next part is where we go to work. We roll up our sleeves. We begin to think about what this means for us at this moment. A lot of work, a lot of planning, a lot of getting ready. Now it's go time. It's simply go time. It's time for us to step into it. It doesn't just mean those of us who work at Kansas State University every day. It means all of us working together. Everybody that cares about not only the state of Kansas, but in particular about Kansas State University has to be a part of this because it's all of us. One K-State. Same idea. Boldly moving into new areas, trying new things, not because we're trying to be something we're not, but because the people of Kansas and beyond deserve that. That is who we are, and that is who we will be. You know, I think about those folks that must have been there in 1863. It was a lot different looking place, although we have a few buildings that maybe date back to that. And Greg can talk to you about how to donate to those, Greg. I got your plug in right there. We got a few of those. But you know, if you think about that history, this place has stood time. Think about all that's happened in this country from 1863 to now. It's been a lot. It's weathered storms, there's been wars, there's been all kinds of things. But through it all, Kansas State still stood. And I think that's an important thing, that we're going to be still standing, but we're going to do it maybe a little differently, to run forward, to think about learners, to think about our engagement, our research productivity. We're going to lift the bar. We're going to chase excellence. We're going to be all about excellence in everything we do. Not to say we haven't in the past, but we're going to push harder into it because that is our responsibility. You know, I would even take it further. It's not even our responsibility, it's our obligation. We're obligated to do this because that is who we are. So, as we think forward, one of the things I'm going to encourage you to do is you'll have an opportunity to go on our website to see our new strategic planning profile. We have an entire dashboard that's coming up there. You'll be able to go there and see how we're doing. We're going to be measuring progress through metrics. Faculty, staff, and others on campus are going to be regularly able to see it. It's going to be very transparent for the world to see. Because we want you to see where we're achieving excellence and where we're chasing excellence. And what that means is we're maybe not quite there yet, but we're going to get there. I want you to see that because that's important that you understand where you are because you're a part of this. We also want you to know that there will be more details coming out in the months ahead, as I said earlier. There'll be more things to learn about. We're going to continue to roll this out because that's important that you stay connected with us in new ways and let us know when we need to do something different. Not that you've ever shied away from that, but please continue because that's the only way we get better. You know, a few minutes ago before I started this program, I was actually on a Zoom helping the foundation with a donor call. And one of the things that came out of that call, it was really interesting, sort of ironic that it happened at that very moment with some of Greg's team and others, that in that moment, there was a moment there when the conversation went to, well, how would you like to move forward? And you know, when they look at you on Zoom and you're looking right at them, you think this is the moment. Now you can obviously ask them for money, that's a piece of it. But really the thing that I asked them for, I said, I want you to come and help co-create this with us. Because if they co-create it with us, they'll co-own it with us and they'll invest in it. So what I want you to do is think about this plan this way. This plan is something we want you to co-create with us. We want you to co-create our destiny so that we're all standing in line at the finish line, whenever that is, cheering that next generation to come forward and do more, do better. Not with less, but with more abundance, with more intensity, with greater service to others. So, I want you to know that later today, as you leave here in a little bit, there is a big event in front of Anderson Hall. We hope you'll go and enjoy that. We've done that for you as a celebration of this event, and we hope you'll do it. We also want you to know that you're important to us, and we value you. You know, I've heard this term since I've been here, K-Stater. That's a thing. Maybe someday they'll call me a K-Stater. Not yet. I'm still earning that. But I think that's something that you guys that definitely go to this institution, you own it. It's a pride point. I hear you introduce each other in different ways, but you always bring up, I'm a K-Stater. Don't ever lose that because that makes you unique and distinct. What we've got to make sure is the K-Stater of the future has that same passion, purpose, drive that you have. So with that, what I'm going to do is ask you to go back to the screen for one more video as you hear some wrap-up comments from our president, Richard Linton.
Hey Wildcats, today is the beginning of an exciting new chapter for Kansas State University. I want to thank each and every one of you for being with us on this journey. Whether you're in Forum Hall today or joining us online or wherever you are across the state, the nation, or the world. I want to thank everyone for their input into this incredible, forward-thinking strategic plan which provides us with a bold path forward. Thank you for your passion for this great university and for the part you all play in bringing this vision for a next-generation land-grant university to fruition. This work is not the work of one. It is the work of many, and it will take a continued shared commitment to take us to new heights. Students, I need you to help us to continue to imagine what the world around us could be with the right solutions. Your creativity and vision for a better world will drive us all forward, and it will help us deliver the education that will help you be a part of that beautiful future. And as you go out and paint the world purple, I want you to know that one very, very visible way I'd like to see this someday in the future is with purple graduation regalia for every K-Stater. You should have every opportunity to wear your purple proudly, and commencement should be no different. And to faculty, I need you to think big and build your networks across this institution and around the world. Find the new opportunities for interdisciplinary collaboration that create bold new solutions. Staff, I need you to seek operational excellence in all that you do, knowing that your work serves as a critical foundation that lifts this institution every single day. And to our alumni, our friends, our partners of this institution, I need you to be champions for Kansas State University, helping us share the incredible efforts that are happening because the nation's first land-grant institution continues to adapt, evolve, and above all, serve. And for every K-Stater with us today, I need you to know that together we are one K-State, and together we are absolutely unstoppable. Thank you, and as always, go Cats!
He asked me if he could talk. What do you think I'm going to say?
I'm just not used to coming on stage and not saying anything. So let me start by saying this. You can't imagine how good it feels to be on this stage at this university. It's amazing. You can't imagine, too, how much I miss being on this campus and being with people. You know, people ask me now to define K-State family. I got a way better definition than I had a month ago. So today has been an incredible day. Are the folks here from Emergent Method? They are. John and Robin and others, if you would please stand, I'd like to recognize you. This is just part of the team from Emergent Method that's been working with us for almost a year and a half to be able to craft the vision, the implementation, and the execution of the strategic plan. They are an incredible team, and we greatly value the work that we've done with you over the last year and a half. You know, as I think about K-State, I guess there's one clear message I'd like to say. Be proud of who you are, and be proud of what you've accomplished. But I ask you, in the journey ahead, to get energized and excited about what K-State can be and what your role can be in the journey for excellence. With that, I'll ask you to raise your hand like this, and we'll end the program on a 1, 2, 3, go Cats!
My name is Toby Rodriguez. I am a sophomore here at Kansas State studying architecture, and we are all very, very happy to be here on such an exciting day for this university. As you may have by now discovered, we are an acapella group, which means that all this noise you're about to be hearing, we make with our bodies, hopefully just our mouths. That being said, we do occasionally come across a song that would really, really benefit from some sort of musical instrument. So, does anyone out there today happen to have an upright bass with them? No. Well, Alex, you're pretty upright. Just put your hand up in the air for us. Well, there's an upright bass. Anna, why don't you play us a little bass?
A 1, 2, 3, 4.
And some drums for us, please, Taylor. Now, this song you might recognize from an animated Disney movie from the 70s, but that's not why we're doing it today. You see, we think that this song has a very special meaning, because I'm here, we're all here, and you are all here for one very special reason. Everybody wants to be a cat, because a cat's the only cat who knows where it's at. Everybody's picking up on that feline beat, because everything else is obsolete. Now a square with a horn makes you wish you weren't born every time he plays. Though a cat in the act, he can set music back to the caveman days. Oh, I've heard a coney bird who tries to sing, but still a cat's the only cat who knows how to swing, who wants to dig along at gig and stuff like that, when everybody digs a swinging cat. Now a square with a horn makes you wish you weren't born every time he plays. Though a cat in the act, he can set music back to the caveman days. Oh, I've heard a corny bird who tries to sing, but still a cat's the only cat who knows how to swing. When playing jazz, you always have a welcome mat, 'cause everybody digs a swinging cat. Trumpets! Now this next part, we're gonna get you all involved. Now don't worry, it's nothing difficult. All you're gonna have to do is repeat after me. Adi, 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 oh. Ee-dee-dee-dee. Adi, 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 oh. That's not bad. Try a little bit louder. Adi, 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 oh. Ee-dee-dee-dee. Adi, 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 oh. Little faster. Adi, 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 oh. Ee-dee-dee-dee. Adi, 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 oh. One more time. Adi, 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 oh. Ee-dee-dee-dee. Adi, 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 oh. Wants to be a cat.
Oh, fight for K-State Wildcats, for alma mater fight. And we shall glory in the combat for the good land of the wild.
We're faithful to our colors,
and we will ever be. Fighting, ever fighting for our Wildcat victory. Fighting, ever fighting for our Wildcat victory. Buy it up, buy it up. We'll never say die.
We're gonna fight, yes, we'll fight. KSU Wildcats! KSU Wildcats! Wildcats!